Tell them, hey, Josh, boy, you're in here quick. All right, glad to see you in here. You got in as quick as I signed on. Yeah, I hope you're doing okay this morning. I'm out here at my Napa dealership this morning, and thought I'd be out here. I thought I would do some video, and out here I've got my new little camera that's pretty neat, and I thought I would do some video. And out here, this is what I used yesterday on the live broadcast, and it's pretty neat. It's a 4K camera, and it has a gimbal and everything on it. And I'll see if I can turn it on here. As you can see, the gimbal bouncing around. Hey, Philip. Hey, comfortable man. Yeah. And it has a screen that you can actually see what you're videoing and everything, as you can see. And you can hook this up to a phone. In other words, I could hook it up to this Android phone, this Google phone, and broadcast actually live once I use the phone. It's pretty neat situation. Hey, Blaze, how are you? And it's pretty neat, and I'm gonna try to use this more often because this. Well, hey, Phil, how are you? I mean, Patrick. I'm getting. I always see the heavy part, the heavy tool for Phil, and Patrick has got the heavy machinery. When I see the heavy part, I get them crossed right quick. But anyway, this is the camera that I actually used yesterday for the first time, and it works. It works pretty good. Works pretty good. I'm gonna have to do a full review of it and let people see what it will do, because the 4K part of it is fantastic, and it really does a really good video and everything. So I'm gonna be using this more often because, like I said, as you can see, the gimbal up here with the camera part will move, and it works really good. Yeah. You got the large tools to go along with it, have you, Patrick? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's already the afternoon. Of course, you stayed on Phil's channel pretty long last night too. I noticed that was way up in the morning for you, wasn't it? You've had to sleep. But anyway, this is a little camera that I really, I highly recommend this. I mean, this of any little camera that I've bought recently, this one, it's something. And like I said, that's how small it is. I mean, you can see my hand. In other words, you can put it by your hand. Now, you got to be careful. The microphone is actually on the bottom, so you have to be careful so as not to cover up. You don't want to grab it like that, and you'll be smothering the microphone hole. Now, you can put an external microphone on it if you don't use like I can put a lavalier mic on it here if I want to. So it's different, but that's what I was using. And some of the guys said something about doing something live out here. My Wi-Fi is not good all the way through the building. When I get back into the shop area, my Wi-Fi will get weak, so it would not give a real good signal. So probably what I'll do, I'm gonna do maybe a video of the Napa store where I'm at right now, and just put that up, but kind of give you a Napa store review. I think you'll like that better than me trying to do it live, because live would be kind of cumbersome of everything that I have to go over. Yeah, it's got a neat little case too. I was going to show you that. It's got a neat little case. So, I mean, it protects the camera. You can stick it back in here, and whoops, I got it backwards. Oh no, yeah, I got it upside down. That's what it is. That I need to set it in like that. set it in like that. And then it's got a little snap holder thing there. And then you can just stick it in your pocket, thus the pocket camera. So it works really good. It works really good. I'm happy with it. Well, I'd have to start using Instagram or Snapchat. If you're talking to me, Joshua, I don't use Instagram, or I got too many social media things now with just Facebook and YouTube, and I don't have time to do Snapchat and Instagram, and now they even got that TikTok that they're banning because they're talking about it getting too much of our information and everything. And it's really not a safe program. I think we got to watch what we put all of our information out there about, because and I actually was on a program the other day trying to download some software, and I think I may have got on one that was sort of nefarious myself, and I had to watch it, because sometimes you get on some of these things and you wonder why they need all that information. And it's not safe to give all your information out all the time. So you got to watch these things. Yeah. So it can be tough. It can be tough. And I'm going to get in here and make sure I'm not missing anybody. Hey, Kevin, I'm glad to see you in here. Yeah. Comfortable man, Joshua, Patrick. I'm just trying to review all the ones chatting in here right now, and see who all we can get on here this morning. Hope I didn't leave Phillips in here. I don't want to leave anybody out. Got some gnats in here. I got to watch it. Been a bad year for gnats for some reason. I have a lot. I've had some down at the house. My wife does a lot of gardening and everything. But yeah, I'm out here at the Napa store. There's my logo, as you can see, my Cherryville Auto and Truck Parts. So I'm a Napa store executive with a phone that's been talking to FedEx all morning. So I've been on the line dispatching trucks and getting things lined up with FedEx. So it's been a mess. Yeah, I know it. I mean, that's the thing. There are so many things that can really mess you up, and they can get too much of your information out there. So I think we got to be cognizant of the fact that we can't give everybody every piece of information. That's like you're talking about Instagram and Snapchat and WeChat and a TikTok, and they're just on and on and on. And at some point, you kind of feel like you're not as safe by giving all your information out there. And I don't think I need to be on every social media program. I mean, I do this for enjoyment. I don't do this as this is not a money making thing for me. I mean, I'm monetized, but it's like JC Smith says, it's YouTube pesos. I don't get big money, nor am I seeking big money. I mean, if by chance my channel took off and really got to making money, I'm not going to deny I like money, so don't get me wrong, but I do it for the enjoyment of it right now, and it's not a drudgery to get up on Sunday mornings or Saturdays or whenever I'm working on these things and kind of explain what I'm doing out here in the trucking business and the Napa business and that sort of stuff. So I try to yeah, you got to watch email scammers too, Walter. That's for sure. There's all sort of scamming out here, and we've got to watch that, because we can get ourselves in a real bad situation if you have too much, if you divulge too much information. That's sort of like, I had an uncle one time, my Uncle Gene. He was a real good mechanic. He worked in a mill as a mechanic, and fixed all their equipment. And he was forever going in on Sundays and Saturdays, he'd get called in to fix something. And I was out there with him one day, and I said, Uncle Gene, I said, why don't you just teach some of those guys to do what you're doing so you don't have to go out on Sundays? He goes, he said, if I teach everybody everything that I know, then they know as much as me, and they'll be twice as smart because they'll know everything they know and everything I know. And he said, and I get called out. He said, I like this overtime. He said, I get double time and a half, and or whatever he was getting at the time. He said, so no. He said, I don't divulge too much information because I want to be able to be wanted. So, and that's what you have to look at with this too. You don't want to give all your information out over the airways. And even as we do things too, we've opened up to a lot of aspects of our life. I have myself. I don't mind, talking about owning an Apple store and owning a trucking business. I don't put too many personal things up. Of course, I've got a wife, 2 children, 1 grandchild. Most of those type things have been told about me, but I don't want to divulge too much of their personal information along with mine, because I think, sometimes there's so many people out there that can turn things around on you. I don't know what I'm getting email notifications. So, I'm careful when it comes to things like that, because you can give too much information out there. So, all of you, I know you guys, you're on chats and everything too. And you've seen over the years how people will use that against you. So I try to, I give enough information. I get what information that I want disseminated, but I don't try to inundate the internet with every piece of information about me, because I think it can be used against you sometimes. I see it happening out there. I'm pretty much an open book. People can find me, they can find out about me, and I'm not embarrassed of what I am and what I do, but you've got to be careful with things. Yeah. If you ever see me win the lottery, Patrick, you won't see me on here. If I win the lottery, the big one, you probably won't see me out here. I don't know. I guess I say that, but I probably still would. I probably wouldn't divulge it. I would hope that I could do something anonymous, because that's what happens. People utilize every bit of information they get from people. And like I said, and sometimes nefariously use that against them. And that's bad. It's bad. Our world has opened up. To see how much information has progressed over the past, for me, I'm almost 70, 69 years old. So since 1951 until 2020 here, it's amazing what has happened as far as the communications. I grew up, and I'm going to sound like your grandpa, of course. Of course, I grew up, and we had one little black and white TV in the living room. We had 3 channels. That's all we had, all black and white again. And, we didn't have communications like we've got now. We had one telephone, and when I was young, we were on a party line. We had a phone that actually neighbors shared the same line. In other words, you had to, if you picked up, your neighbor may be on the line talking with somebody. And what they did back then, it was, if your number rang, in other words, you might have had one long ring, and then your neighbor might have had one long and one short, or 2 shorts. And that's what you had to listen for back then. You had to listen to how the phone rang, whether or not you pick up or not. In other words, if 2 short rings came in, that might be John Brown down the road, not you, but it rang on your phone too. And that was called a party line back then. And but fortunately, my dad had a line, so we had to pay extra to get a private line as opposed to a party line. But I do remember the old party line days from way back. Yeah, I mean, Walter's. They tied your. Yeah, yeah. You can like I said, and for me, I mean, my son is a junior, and his we're talking about information and everything. So anytime you name your child as a junior or something like that, you kind of subject them to maybe getting cross communication, because when he got out of college, some of his uh, uh, credit bureau things, as he was trying to build a house and everything, it got crossed with mine because of the fact his mother had helped him set up a credit card, which they made her do. When he went to college, she had to sign for a credit card for him. So she signed on it, and there it was, Michael Stephen Jones Jr., and then her. And then when he got out of college, came back and tried to establish his credit and my credit were merged in together, and we had the hardest time to get that apart sometimes. So you had to watch that. And it's the communications part. Uh, like I said, it has really blossomed. I mean, I'm fortunate that I've been on the cutting edge of some things, because I was actually a internet service provider. When my son is, like I said, he's a computer engineer, and when he was in college back in the early '90s and everything, he and I discussed starting an internet service business. And I checked into it, and sure enough, we did. I checked into it, found out about it, and I was an internet service provider. He and I started that back in the early '90s, and it was so young. The internet was so young, as I've told people. I would go out and try to sell the services of the internet, and people would say, "What's the internet? What's www? What's the cloud?" I mean, back then it was the World Wide Web, and nobody understood browsers. They didn't understand the email. It was really a wide open world back there in the late '80s, early '90s. But my son and I have always been into computers. I got him involved, and I think I've told y'all a couple of the tales uh, that, hey, Ag Tech, glad to see you out there. Michael Klein, glad to see you this morning. But it's it's the way things have evolved. I mean, I'm glad to have been on the cutting edge of some of these things. I'm glad that I was able to do that, and we saw the problems with that early on too. Now, fortunately, we signed up and got a lot of .coms and a few things like that. Actually, I even sold some .coms, made some money on it in my early days. I had one that we sold for, well, I look at it now, it's, I probably could have sold it for more, but I sold one for, I think, $10,000 a .com, and then I let some go dead, which I wish I hadn't, but I still carry a lot. I still have probably 20 or 30 .coms out there that I pay for, and they're pretty good, and they're on what they call the first tier of .coms, because they're not extremely long, and they're not. I mean, when you look at some .coms, you worry, how did you come up with that? And it might be 30 letters or whatever, really, really long. But of course, that's not as hot of a market now as it used to be. It still is. It's still being used, and but I've seen things. It's kind of ebb and flow on the internet when we're out here, because you'll see things that are hot. I mean, like Joshua was asking a while ago about Instagram and TikTok and WeChat, and I don't know what all the others are, but I don't participate on every one of them, because it's just too much. It's can be overwhelming. I mean, I do good to do YouTube and Facebook, and instead of trying to get all the others. I'm gonna try to read. Yeah, I should have got Al Gore in there. Yeah, Al Gore was nowhere to be found when I started. I can tell you that. Al Gore uh, did not invent the internet. Uh, Anybody who wants to research it knows who actually did. And, it was a bunch of professors basically that did it. And they, before it was the internet, before it was www and everything, there was a lot of bulletin boards. And I used to be big into bulletin boards way back. Yeah, it was a different situation. It was a way different situation back in the late 80s and early 90s. I'm glad that I was a part of it. I'm glad that I have done all those things. Well, I mean, the military had some things, but actually a lot of professors. And I believe go back and look at CERN. Is a CERN, CERN. There's a couple of different things. It basically was a lot of professors and universities that wanted to communicate with each other live, and they developed the backbone of that, so they could, and it was basically text at that point too, and this was prior to email and everything else. Well, you were using a form of it, but it wasn't www. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I was using things like that too, comfortable man, but it wasn't the same evolved part that we're talking about now. I mean, that part didn't get going good until the mid to late 80s, if I remember right. And but it was, the military's always had their own communication, but I mean, as far as having a backbone like what they call it before they called the cloud and everything else, they had to develop the backbone and have everything wired through these T1s and ISDN lines and everything like that. I mean, I had to rent some T1 lines and ISDN lines when I first got started, and boy, was it expensive too. Well, I mean, the military has always, of course, thank goodness our military has been strong and it's been smart and it's been on the cusp of most things, but it took the cooperation, and the good thing about it is they made it primarily free as far as people being able to get onto it. I mean, you had to go through a provider of some description, but none of these providers owned the backbone, and that's. Hey Tim, how are you? Doing pretty good down here in North Carolina. How about you? But it's unusual how all this got started, and it's good to research. But look up CERN. I think it's CERN. Look up that if you want to find out some of the original things, and then the language of it, and being able to start putting pictures in with it is where it really took off. And then when everybody was able to, put a website up and make your own servers and things like that. I mean, we actually had our own servers in the cloud ourselves off of our backbone that we had, and so we're familiar with that pretty good. And thank goodness I had a smart son. Like I said, he was went to NC State and was a computer engineer, electrical engineer, and we were in the right place at the right time. Bought that, did real well with it, and sold it. I sold it when it got so large that it was not profitable it was still profitable. It was not, let's say I would have had to have investors and everything else had I got any larger. So I really didn't want that. So the people that actually helped start me bought me back out. as an ISP, and I carried so many areas off of their backbone. And Bob, gosh, I can't remember Bob's last name. Okay, good gracious, is it coming in stable, guys? I'm getting an unstable notice here on my. I'm not getting too. Is my screen good now? It popping off. I hope it hadn't been too unstable. Is my signal good, guys? I'm out here at the Napa store. It usually is great, but I had a notification on my screen said it was give me a thumbs up. It's fine. Okay. Well, great. All right. I'm just. I hope of course, bang my little bell down there and give me a thumbs up and everything. Hey, Blake, how are you? Looks good to you. Okay. Well, for some reason now they just popped up the little arrow up here that said might be a little bit unstable. A little buffering. Okay. So it did buffer on you a little bit. Okay. There's Kevin. Okay. We're good. I hope it does. I mean, I usually like coming out here to the Napa store because the signal is so good. And, of course, I don't own Spectrum. So, it can fluctuate as Spectrum may fluctuate. So, skipped a little. Okay. Well, if we can take a little skipping. Me. But, just if y'all can put it, of course, that's what we had to put up with as we're talking about the internet. And, we're at the mercy of all the people with the backbone, with the big pipelines, what they call. And, so it still amazes me that we are able to do this. I mean, there's AgTech that's in Canada, and you got Spectrum there too. Okay. Yeah. And Patrick, like I'm sitting next to Patrick, and Patrick is in Austria. And, I think Tim, aren't you in New York State? I think. And then Jim C. I forget. Jim, where are you from? I forget. And then Kevin, I have no idea where he's at because he's always on the road. Kevin could be anywhere from LA to New York. So I never know on Ohio. Okay. Yeah. Jim's in Ohio. Hey, Chris. And there's Chris. And he just popped in from Kansas. Yeah. It's early morning church service, y'all. Y'all all need to be good now. Don't be saying anything bad. Yeah. Oh, you're in Atlanta today. Oh, that's as close as you've been to me in a long time, Kevin. You get to North Carolina, me and you're going to have to meet up somewhere. Now, Tim, where are you from, Tim? Aren't you from state of New York, or am I remembering wrong? I hope y'all guys will forgive me. I've tried to remember everybody and where they're from, but old brain will wear out after a while. If I'm not writing these things down, so I'm going from memory. Oh, you're in Italy right now, Tim? Oh, for some reason, I thought you were from New York State. Oh, you're a New Yorker. Okay, you are a New Yorker, but you're in Italy right now. Okay. Well, gosh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, and Blake's in Ohio. I know Blake's in Ohio. He's got that new dump truck that everybody's saying put your on your page, put your new dump truck picture and everything. Yeah, Blake, Blake was on yesterday. He saw me using my new little camera. That's neat as heck. Like I said, I'm gonna do another review of the camera itself too. I'm gonna do that if I can because it's a 4K camera with a gimbal. That as I'll take it back out for the ones that haven't seen it yet. And there's the entire camera. It's an Osmos Pocket camera, 4K. Now you'll see it flipping around. That's the gimbal getting ready. And then it lines itself up. and it has a screen on the backside so you can see everything. And then, like I said, it's got this, let me pull it out. It's got a little adapter here. I pull it out and turn it around. Now you'll see that it'll adapt to either an iPhone or an Android phone. And that's what I've got it. I can hook it up to my phone, just via the connection. And then it will bring up the program on my phone. I can see everything on it. And that's what I was doing yesterday when I was doing a live stream. I actually found a way to get around some live streaming. It's not initially designed to live stream, but by using what they call one of the gamer apps that goes on the phone, I was able to live stream with it. Yeah. Oh no, this is really inexpensive. This is $299. $299. I mean, for a phone for a camera that does what this does. And some of the video has been fantastic. It does 4K at 600 frames per second, or 1080p. There's lots of different aspects to it, a lot of different settings. So it's really good. And it's a good little camera. It actually takes good pictures. It'll take 12, I think it's 12p, 12 megapixel pictures. So it's got a lot of features, and the portability of it's what I like about it. It's got that case. You stick that case in your pocket. You're not going to tear it up with your keys and everything else. So I highly recommend it. And I think Blake has one. Yeah. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, Blake. I hope you're talking about your camera. Yeah, he put on there. He's going to have to get his out and play with it. I'm assuming you're talking about your camera. Yeah. Hey, Don, how are you? And Richard. Yeah. Yeah, it can be used as a dash cam. It could be as a dash cam, I guess. I don't think it's designed totally for that because it stands upright. You could put it out there on your dash, and it's got adapters. So yeah, it probably could. Well, Comfortable Man, I appreciate you jumping in here. Yeah, you coming up here? That's my son just jumped in. Yeah, I'm here, son. So my son's going to come up and all right. Well, I'll see you in a few, son. My son Steve, we're the one I was talking about earlier. That when we got the internet started, he's got to come. Of course, he bought a part. I hope his part's good. He bought some parts from me Friday. Don't be returning Napa parts. Just kidding. Yeah, I really like it, and I'm going to try to utilize this a lot more, and try to get a little more productive with this and put some videos out there. Yeah. Well, everybody's saying, hey, yeah, I'm trying to see who all's in, but I'm trying to put some good videos out, and I like doing the live videos because I don't have to prepare. I should probably prepare, but I don't. I don't have to. I just now is Phil in here too, or somebody saying Phil when I mean, yeah. Oh, is Heavy Wrench in here? Oh yeah, he is. Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, glad to see you in here, Phil. Yeah. Yeah, I like it too. I like live. I hope I present myself well in a live video. I'm the type guy that you can strike up a conversation, and 4 hours later we're still talking, and you may not remember everything we talked about, but I'll still be talking probably. But I'm that kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy that in school the teacher always wrote on the report card, Michael could do a lot better if he would pay attention and not talk so much. So that's me. My mother, I think, just got tired of seeing that on the report cards. Every single teacher, uh, you know, and as one time I told somebody, yeah, well, teacher said, yeah, if he thinks he can make a living just staring out the window, and I ought to say now, well, I've made a living staring out of a big window for 40 years as a truck driver. So my teacher was wrong. My teacher was wrong. Yeah, I could stare. I was staring out of a window and going down the road, and enjoying life, still making a good living too. So that teacher did not know what she was talking about. Oh, me. Yeah. So it's, we make out of life what we can. So I have tried to do the best with what I've got over the years. I mean, uh, sometimes it's good, and sometimes, you know, not so good. I've had my ups and downs, and I try to be positive in life. I try to, do the right things. I try to, and include my family, enjoy life, be positive in life. I hope when you get on here and you see me online that you're not. I don't want to be a down and out guy. I mean, I'm like everybody. I have a lot of ups and downs. I have a lot of things that are not as uh, well. Thank you, Don. I'm glad to hear that. Don said, "Good live feed," and I appreciate that. I mean, you know, there's a lot of negativity out there right now, and I could get on here and preach about that, but I try not to because I want to be positive. Uh, I feel better when I'm online and I'm positive with people, and if I convey a positive attitude, because I try to have one. I try not to be a negative person. I mean, it's easy to be a negative person. It's easy to run down everything that's bad in life. But if you turn that around, I mean, and a lot of people are talking to me now, well, Mike, what about your business? How's this? How's that? And it's sort of like they're doom and gloom before they even talk to me. And my situation and my mindset is, what's going wrong, and how can we fix this, and how can we uh, manipulate this to be better for us and change things. Well, thank you very much, Patrick. I appreciate that. And Joshua, Joshua is a very happy, positive guy. I've had Joshua on here a couple of times. I'm not set up to do that today, but I'm just on regular YouTube today. But well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Patrick. I try to be. I guess for a man of my age, I'm doing pretty good. I try to be thoughtful. Uh, I'm not down in my basement worrying about trying to run the world. I'm out here at my Napa store trying to run the world, and that's I try to like I said, I like to come across positive. I said, it's so easy to look at life and to be, well, gosh, my dog died, my pickup truck ran out of gas, and I go on and on and on. I could be a country song if I wanted to, but I try not to be. I try not to be, and it's it's uh, it's one of those things in life. I mean, I've had some very inspirational type people in my life that let me, have a positive attitude. I mean, I'm a lucky man. I've been married almost 50 years. I got a beautiful wife, two beautiful children, and a grandson that just gets me going because I got to get. He's the one that right now is it's not negative in my life, but I want to mold him into a good person. My son works hard at doing that too, and I keep telling my son, I said, deja vu, deja vu. I said, everything your son is doing to you, you did to me. And he said, was I that bad? And I said, well, let's say you were that stubborn. And so I have a stubborn 15-year-old grandson. He's a great kid. He's real smart. He's like his dad and his mom and his grandmother. They're real. He's real analytical and smart and things like that. But teenagers at 14 and 15 years old, they can test your willpower. I think the good Lord puts them out there to make sure we stay in line ourselves. It's something. Yeah. Now, see, music. You're talking about music. Now, see, I even do some of you know, I do a radio show on top of everything else that I do. I know people are saying, what in the heck? And I probably need to, now that I got this new camera, I may take it over to the radio station Tuesday morning, because Tuesday morning I do a radio show live. Part of it is live in the morning. And then I have a program that I actually have prepared and that I do at my studio at home. And I do that. And then we broadcast that on 2 different radio stations that a friend of mine owns. So, and worldwide, if like you, Patrick, if you like to hear some of the oldies, now, tunes from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, I play a variety of that, and I put on a radio show. And, of course, it's sponsored partly by Napa Auto Parts, Cherryville Auto Parts, and the guy that owns the radio station, he and I worked out a good relationship on that. I do the show. I get some free advertisement along with other that I do with him. And, well, the call sign is WLON AM and FM and WOHS AM and FM. It's actually, I guess, 4 stations because they're both AM and FM. And it's online. I tell you what, let me just type this in for those of you that are overseas. You can go on to KTC Broadcasting.com. That's the station, and you can actually, for all of y'all that are, because most of y'all are not going to be in this area, so that would be the way to communicate. And then it's on. I'm gonna put on here the show broadcast from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Tuesdays. So if y'all want to, Bob and Tom show, yeah. Well, I'm not as big as Bob and Tom. I've seen theirs too, but mine's small, and mine is sponsored by my Napa Auto Parts store, not National Napa. I don't get any national out of this. Yeah, but yeah. So Tim or Patrick, if y'all, that'd be in the afternoon for y'all if you're in Italy and in Austria. But sign on. I don't know that you'll have to figure out the time difference. My brain's not working that good this morning. And if anybody is local, it's WLON and WOHS. And that would be you had to click on one of those two broadcasts. They both broadcast it. They're not 100% in sync. LON may be a minute or 2 off from the OHS because they are 2 different stations. So you can click on one or the other on the internet, and then it will bring up the broadcast of what's going on at that time. So if by chance you want to hear, and the name of the show, let me put that in there. It's Cruising in the Carolinas. Whoops. With guess who? Mike. So it's cruising in the Carolinas with Mike. That's what you'll hear me. That's sort of my radio voice. I go cruising in the Carolinas with Mike. Here we are on WLON or WOHS, AM, FM, and then I'll be playing the hits of all that. Yeah. So that's a little. I end up. I mean, everybody that's ever been in radio, you end up with a little bit of a radio voice, is what they'll call. And I have, I used to own the radio station 40 years ago, so I'm familiar with that too. I've had a diverse and if you were to see my biography, you'd go, what? I've done a lot of things over the years. Yeah, I do. That's what I play. I play rock and roll and some country music mixed in there too. And not too much heavy metal. Although last week I did play one song by AC/DC, and that's about as hard a rock as I get. And but I did an AC/DC song last week. More of it, you're going to hear more of your middle of the road rock and roll, some old soul, Temptations, Four Tops, Supremes, Beach Boys, even some beach music from the Carolinas and a few things like that. Yeah, you won't hear too much AC/DC. I did play one song from them last week, and my crowd that I cater to do not listen to AC/DC too much. Yeah. Yeah, if you've ever been a DJ, and I know some other people out here may have been one too, at some point in your life, you'll have a certain mentality, and I I try to. That's like my show here and everything. I try to do it rigid and do it like you do a radio show. Be here and be on time. I want the people to know that I'll be here each Sunday morning at 9:00. And the length, now we let that go to whatever the crowd wants to go. I mean, if people want to talk more, I go along with that, and I'll talk more too. But if it mellows out and no one wants to say much, or if I get a little bit tired myself, we'll shut it down. And that's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of having your own site like this. But I tried to go with the ebb and flow and not bore people with different things. I try to kind of keep them involved, and I try to watch the text as it's coming across. Yeah, well, I've played that John Denver song, "Country Homes," West Virginia. Yeah. Yeah, I've got that. I've got that. But yeah, just you'll have Patrick, you'll have to tune in. Now, if you're out working, so you may be working that part of the day. Uh, if you're out working and you can turn on your computer and listen to that, tune into that if you can at ktcbroadcasting.com, and just write that down and remember it. And then on Tuesday morning, my time at 10:00, I'm actually on the air earlier than that live, but me and the other DJ were just kind of, I go on about 8:00 that in the morning, and he and I have a little banter back and forth. I'm just over on the microphone. He and I are kind of talking different things, and he's playing his commercials and going on. And then he comes in and talks back and forth, and with me is sort of, a little morning show type atmosphere. And we'll talk about different things and what I've got on my show and things like that. So that's John Denver was the first country. Yeah. Now I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever seen John Denver live. I've seen a lot of artists live. Yeah, those are great tunes, great tunes, and you'll hear me play some of those. I'll As a matter of fact, let me write that down. Patrick, what I will do a long distance dedication to you with John Denver this week. How's that sound? So you listen in, and I'm going to say, now, what town in Austria are you from? So I'll try to put the town and everything. Yeah, I didn't. Let me see. Okay, there's my show name, Cruising in the Carolinas with Mike. But yeah, tell me your town and everything in Austria. Yeah, I know you can't promise, but if you can, it'll be out there, and I'll be broadcasting it to you. So I'm gonna try to I'll try to do that. And let's see, Tim. Now where Upper Austria, Effending, Eferding. Efferding, is that the way it's pronounced? Is that good enough? Upper Austria, Efferding. Okay. Can I look that up on Google? I guess I can. I'll go on Google's Maps and check that out and see. My dad always talked about how beautiful. Okay, Efferding is your hometown. Efferding, Austria. Efferding, Austria. Okay. All right. I'll look that up on Google so I can see what it looks like. But my dad always talked about how pretty Austria. He loved Austria and Germany and Switzerland. Thought that was beautiful countryside out there, and it reminded him of home here. We the Piedmont of the Carolinas and the mountains and everything. We have a very similar landscape. Okay, you're in the country too, are you? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's where I mean, my small town of Cherryville. If you look it up on Google, you'll notice that it's sort of rural too. I mean, this little town that only has 5,280 people in it. That's what they usually say the population is. Yeah, I like the countryside too. I live on a farm myself. We're on the back side of about 100 acres, and then even out here at my dealership, my Napa dealership, I have 8 acres out here. And if you ever want to go on Google Maps and see that, you can see my. Of course, I wish they would update Google Maps because the front picture of it, you can't see my Napa store. You see the old store it was before I bought it out and have improved it. The overhead site, the aerial view, they've updated it because you can see my new roof and see where I painted the roof and did everything. And you can see where I paved the parking lot again. But Google has gotten lazy. They had the front picture still shows the old tenant of the building that was there 4 years ago. And there used to be a Carolina Heating and Air in here, and they kind of let the building run down. And I bought it and remodeled it and that sort of stuff. But if you go on Google and look up my address, you won't see the new version yet. Maybe they'll get the Google car out here. You see it every once in a while, but I think Google gets lazy on that, and they don't put the street views out here all the time like they should. Probably because they're going to have to change a lot with all this turmoil and everything going on in Seattle and Minneapolis, and the landscape's changing on some of these places. They're burning them down and tearing them up, things like that. But yeah, every once in a while, Google Maps will update it, and Apple has actually updated. I don't think they did. They don't do the street view, but they've updated the overhead and that sort of stuff. Yeah, I know. I'm 6 hours away. That is the big problem. Well, no, I'm not central. I'm I'm Eastern Standard Time. I'm not Central. I'm Eastern Standard Time. I'm the same time as Atlanta, New York, Florida, all that. Everything on the East Coast. That's my hometown is on Eastern Standard Time. Uh, it doesn't switch over to Central Standard till you get it in about midway in Tennessee. Yeah, I'm EST, not Central. No, I think okay. Michigan's Eastern Standard Time too. I was thinking y'all are Central, huh? Because you are a good bit west of me, a little bit, Phil. I mean, because now which part of Michigan are you in, Phil? So you're in. Are you near Grand Rapids or Detroit? Or are you in between there? Oh, CET is Central European Time. I got you. I got you. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking you meant uh, Central Time here in the U.S. So you're in Central European Time. I never did know what the different time zones were called out there. All of Michigan is. That's unusual, isn't it? Because Michigan, now Minnesota is Central, aren't they? In Minnesota, or is it Wisconsin? Or is it both? I can't remember. Okay, you're near Detroit. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty. I'm trying to picture in my mind. That is pretty straight up from Ohio, Michigan, and yeah. But it's sort of strange because Tennessee, the border state for North Carolina, you get halfway in the state of Tennessee. You get over like Nashville, Tennessee is Central Time, and then I'm over here in North Carolina and it's Eastern. Yeah, yeah. Okay, it's Chicago. Yeah, it is Central. Yeah, because I end up I actually do a meet with Chicago, one of the teams or two of the teams out of Chicago, and they'll tell my drivers, oh yeah, we left at 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. Well, actually, that's 5 a.m. for us because we're on Eastern, so we have to do the adjustment. Yeah. Well, now we can do Ted Nugent. He's a Detroit guy, and I can do Cat Scratch Fever. Old Ted is a wild character, and he was actually in a group called the Amboy. Was it Amboy Dukes? That he had a song, but Ted Nugent's from Detroit. I think he's out. Of course, I think he may have moved to Texas or something. Got you in a stranglehold. Is that one of Ted Nugent's? I don't know all the Ted's songs. I know Cat Scratch Fever and that one Amboy Amboy Dukes. I believe the band he was in. They had a song out in the '60s. Um, but I'm not a huge. Yeah, I know. You warned me. That tune stuck in your head, isn't it, Tim? Uncle Ted. Yeah, yeah. Motor City Madman. That's exactly right. Yeah, I like Ted Nugent. He is. Oh, is that my son? Oh, wait, hold on a second. He must not have his key. Okay, okay. I thought you had your key. Oh, you got your hands full. Come on in. Still online here. What you got?
I got my Raspberry Pi stuff.
Oh, you got your Raspberry Pi.
I bought me a little monitor.
Oh, did you?
See if I can hook it up.
Okay.
What's everybody doing?
Oh, I got. There's my son. There's Mini Me.
We're gonna junk up Mom's office, so she'll be mad at all of us.
Yes, you can be mad at all of us. Just sit down there in that chair if you want, or go grab. If you don't want that one, go get you another one.
I might just
Okay.
right here.
Yeah.
You get a banana peel.
Well, I was eating a banana. Go throw it away. I just ate it just a few minutes
Where's
ago.
that?
Go out to the trash can, throw it away. I put it over there so I remember to throw it away. Yeah. Of course, now, as you saw, that's my son that just came in, the one I was talking about earlier. My son, Steve. He's, yeah. I'm looking at the comments and everything there. What have you got? A strawberry pie?
No, it's raspberry pie.
Raspberry pie, man.
What I'm trying to do is
Okay, what are you doing?
I'm trying to kind of just put together
Put
a
together.
simple camera when your grandson is driving, and I can see the back of the car, so I know when he's changing lanes.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to take him on I-85 here in the next maybe.
So you're
day.
you're gonna get scared the heck out of it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I took him on 95.
Did you?
Yeah.
We've had him on 321, but not on.
You hadn't had him on
I
90.
have not had him. We were in the rain yesterday. We did everything in the rain. So
Well, that's good. He's got to learn that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're discussing my grandson's driver's ed right now. Yeah, they're saying hi to you, Steve. That's Heavy Machinery and is from Austria, and Heavy Wrench is from Michigan.
wow.
So you got Michigan and Austria on here, and then Walter. Oh gosh, now Walter, where are you from? And then I got Kevin. He's down in Atlanta right now, and Tim's in Italy. He's from New York, but he's in Italy. Yeah. Now Kevin just said hey to you.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. Like I said, everybody. That's my son, Steve, or Michael Stephen Jones Jr. If you wonder about that, we were talking about that identity situation that his
Don't
mother
share my identity online.
yeah, his mother, by getting him a credit card when he was just starting college, kind of messed him up because it tied her name and his name like he was her husband. And then when he went to get credit on his own, it was tying the two together. So you have to watch some of those things. Sometimes it will kind of fool you. So that's what happens on stuff like that. But it made him work even harder to make sure he keeps good credit for the rest of his life, which he has. Yeah. Heaven Machinery said he needed. Now, are you talking about a real pie or a Raspberry Pi? Like he's making a Raspberry Pi computer. Steve, like I said, of course, is a computer engineer, and he and I used to build PCs when he was young. That was part of our thing. I got him started in that early on, as opposed to other things. And I think I may have told. I know I've told this before, but I'll kind of summarize it. When Steve and my daughter were young, my wife and I, we were going through Sears. This is how long. This is when Sears was Sears. It was a big store, and we saw a Pong computer game. All it was is Pong, just going back and forth and back and forth. And she said, "Well, why don't we just buy that for the kids for Christmas?" And I said, "No, let's get something better." I'd already seen it. At that time, Radio Shack had the small color computers that you could actually hook to it. And she said, "Well, that's twice as much." I said, "I don't care. It's twice the machine." I said, "That's actually a computer." And I said, this way, Steve and Dina can learn to do computer operations and learn to program. Well, we did it. I won out, thank goodness. And we got that for Steve and Dina for Christmas. And of course, Steve took off with it. Dina didn't have as much interest in it, but Steve took off with it real good and did real well with it. Learned to program on it. Won a national contest through a color computer magazine, and got his program published and everything. So I was real proud of him for doing that. Now, this is back in the 80s. So this is how far back this has been. Steve was only, what grade were you in? Second, third grade?
Yeah, something like that.
He
This
was
was small. I wasn't Bill Gates level. I was doing this was small stuff, small
Yeah.
country boy stuff.
Yeah, he's not Bill Gates.
Yeah, I'm not Bill Gates.
Definitely not Bill Gates because I'm still loaning him money. So he's always he's an engineer, makes great money, but it's he and I will come up with projects every once in a while. So that's the way it goes. Yeah. He didn't get rich on that program. He won the contest and he got some
I
prizes.
got a free issue of the magazine.
Yeah, that's it. Free subscription, yearly subscription to the magazine, and a couple of other programs and a couple of things. But it was neat. It was to get the national recognition and to be published. I thought that was pretty good for somebody that was in the second grade back in, gosh, when was that? 82 or something.
Yeah.
Probably in 1982. So we've been involved with that for a long time, and as a family unit, we've always tried to do things like that. And Steve got real good at it, and Steve actually did well in high school and went on to NC State. We started our internet business about the time you started college, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Somewhere around that. And Steve had actually seen the internet on a better level than I had ever seen it. I mean, I've seen the bulletin boards and everything else, but Steve, with the university and everything, they had a real good internet system. And we both, it kind of piqued both of our interest. And that's where we got started in the early 90s with the internet. And it's paid off well for us and did well. We were able to grow the business up to a pretty good size. And then we sold it because we saw that we were going to have to go from ISDN and dial-ups and everything else to going to UVerse type operation. It was going to be so costly that it wasn't going to be good. Now, what have you got, Steve? Bring it over here.
Well, you'll see them online. This is a little Raspberry Pi mini
Okay.
computer.
Okay, it was already self-contained.
Well, yeah, Michael and Heather bought me that little case, but I had bought the
Oh,
this little
okay.
$35 microcomputer.
Okay, yeah, that is a full computer, guys. And here's the HDMI port.
This is a little monitor for $60, but
Oh, you bought the monitor to go with it? You need a case on it too, though, don't you?
yeah, I'm gonna have to print me something.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Steve has a 3D. Last year, that was one of their Christmas presents, was a 3D printer. So I actually,
Michael has a 3D printer that I stole.
yeah. I got it for my grandson, but my son took it over. my son liked it better than my grandson, but it was my grandson's Christmas present that his dad commandeered, I guess you might say. So he commandeered that.
Yeah, I'm making sure it's in good running order.
Yeah. Now I tell you what, when I go to the orthodontist in the morning, if he wants too much for my braces, I'm gonna have you to print me a 3D tooth.
Yeah, I don't know on that one. You might not want my stuff in your mouth.
I've thought about that. Just get. I've got tomorrow. A couple of weeks ago, I had to have a tooth pulled, so I have a missing tooth. But I had choices to either have a root canal, not a root canal, to have a bridge, or have a implant, and both of those were going to be pretty darn expensive. And the bridge, they were going to have to basically tear up two of my teeth so they could build the bridge and the false tooth there. I guess I have one on this side, and I said, well, not too interested in that. And they said the third option was go to the orthodontist because I've got a bunch of crooked teeth down on the bottom, and they say, well, they can straighten that and maybe fill the void that I have that tooth. So I'm gonna go check out the orthodontist tomorrow. If not, I'm gonna get him to use a 3D printer and make me a tooth.
It'd be good all making it out of wood. He should have you an oak tooth for a while. Making it.
Yeah, I'll do like George Washington. And make my own tooth. All right, AgTech. I'll see you later. AgTech out of Canada. He's signing off. But yeah, we're over here just knocking away on this and trying to see what we come up with. I tell you what, guys, so I can help him and we can do this. I've been on here about an hour and 10 minutes. I think I'm going to sign off, catch y'all guys later. And Steve and I were kind of project. And I'll see y'all later. And I'm going to try to get online and put some of the videos up that I've got with the Pocket Osmos here. And
Now, using that as a web camera.
I did it yesterday. Yeah, I'd show you that, what I did yesterday. All right.
Camera.
Yeah, pretty neat. Pretty neat. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get off. See you around. Me and Steve are going to have a little bit of fun messing with some computers and a few other things. See you around. Bye.